As I said, my name is Thomas Andersen. I will facilitate this webinar. I work at Sigis with development of farm, primarily Denmark, but I'm also involved in EuroDairy. EuroDairy is a network that focuses on increasing the economic and social environmental sustainability. It spans 14 countries from Ireland to Poland, from Sweden to Italy. The countries involved in EuroDairy covers about 40% of the dairy farmers, 45% of the cows, and 60% of the milk output in Europe. In the EuroDairy network, we have linked 120 pilot farms, or 122 to be quite exact, farms who can give us inspiration on how to increase the economic, social, and environmental sustainability. One element in the inspiration is collecting data from the pilot farms. Data that will be converted into information and spread to the rest of the European dairy farmers. The topic of today's webinar is data collection from the pilot farms. We will focus on the data, on resource efficiency, and how to collect the data. The aim is to introduce the tool used to do the data collection. Before I will introduce the speaker of today, I'll just shortly present the agenda and the framework of today's webinar. You may have noticed that we are using Adobe Connect. You should have 4 different frames on your screen, one main window with the presentation, and 3 smaller windows, one with my video. I will disable it in a moment, so you don't have to look at me for the rest of the afternoon or the rest of the hour. One with the list of the participants, and at the bottom a chat room. If you have any questions, then please type them in, then we will try to answer them at the end of the webinar. And please also notice that the webinar is being recorded. Afterwards, it will be available from the EuroDairy website. On the agenda, there's first my introduction. It's almost finished. Then Sylvain from the French Institute of Livestock will go deeper into the tool with some background and how to use it. Sylvain has developed the tool together with EuroDairy from Wageningen University and Research on the basis of a tool developed in the Dairyman project. And after the presentation from Sylvain, we will try to answer your questions. We know that the tool has not been shared with the data collectors yet, but we think that the European dairy farmers will do that as soon as possible. But now we will just do the introduction, and then afterwards you will get the tool and get possibilities to type in data yourself. Okay. I think, Sylvain, you are the next one on.
Yeah, I take it.
If you just do the talking, I should.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. Just
Okay.
go on.
Yeah, just a little introduction of myself. So I am Sylvain Forêt from the French Livestock Institute. I work in Brittany, and I work on the nitrogen efficiency, nitrogen cycling on dairy farms, and I was involved in the Dairyman project. So to begin, just a little introduction why we work on the resource efficiency thematic. So you know that more efficient use of resources like labor, feed, fertilizer, fossil fuel and water is one of the biggest challenges to face dairy farming in Europe, directly affecting competitiveness, social acceptability, environmental sustainability and biodiversity. And through the application of best practice and practice-based innovation, the aim of our project, of the EuroDairy project, is to improve the efficiency of the dairy farms in the use of the resources in order to increase technical performance, improve profitability, and reduce environmentally damaging emissions to air and water. So, the EuroDairy project will focus on developing and integrating practices which increase the efficiency of nutrient cycling and reduce losses from the system to the environment. And we developed an approach of the nitrogen and phosphorus cycle with the use of nitrogen and phosphorus balances, the farm purchases and exports will be quantified using agreed standard methodologies. Here you can find the representation of the nitrogen and the phosphorus balance, the difference between the input and the output by taking account of the stock variation of the farm. This nitrogen and phosphorus balance allows to assess the potential of production of a system by taking account of the input and the output, and it characterizes the quantity of nitrogen and phosphorus which are lost or immobilized at the level within the systems. You can find the different inputs considered in the tool and in the nitrogen and phosphorus balance approach. So the inputs on the farm are the animals, the mineral fertilizers, the organic fertilizers, the plant products, the feed concentrates, the fixation, the symbiotic fixation. You have the outputs, the milk produced on the farm, the animals sold from the farm, and other outputs from the farms like organic fertilizer. And the mineral balance, nitrogen or phosphorus, is just the difference between the input and the outputs by taking account the stock variation. There's also another indicator which can be used on the farm. This is the nitrogen use efficiency with the report, the output on the input by taking account the stock variation. One question why we work on the nitrogen and phosphorus balance. The question is where goes the nitrogen surplus? And we have to take a look at the nitrogen cycle in a dairy farm. On a dairy farm, we can see that in each point of the farm, the crops, forage and grasslands, the animal, the buildings, the manure storage, the manure spreading, you have different losses possibility to the air or to the water. And all these losses explain the nitrogen surplus. So reducing the nitrogen surplus at the farm scale allows to decrease the losses to the environment and can also be profitable for the farm economy. For example, improving feed efficiency among dairy cattle herds offers an opportunity to address two main issues for the dairy farmers. On the first hand, feed costs are an important threat to dairy farmers' profitability, and on the second hand, there is a greater emphasis being placed on reducing the negative impacts of dairy production on the environment, to lower greenhouse gases, for example, emissions, and nutrient losses to the environment as cited with cattle production. We made this kind of approach in the Dairyman project. It's just an example to show you what we can do with this kind of information, and we worked on a specific system based on maize and grasslands for grazing, a system found in Brittany or in northern of France, and we try to better understand the less efficient and most efficient farm on the Dairyman project, and we saw that the most efficient farm presented the best current result before taxes, the better charges on gross product, the better milk production per hectare of forage area, and also good or a better nitrogen surplus compared to the less efficient. So it was just an introduction to the nitrogen and phosphorus balance, and now we will go through the questionnaire, the tool included in the EDF questionnaire. So in the tool you will find two main sheets. The first one considering the EDF data to be collected, and a part dedicated to the resource efficiency data. And you will find a second sheet with the main resource efficiency results. The resource efficiency tool will start at line 320, and about 40 till 60 data need to be collected. Two main things to know. A large part of the required data is found in the EDF questionnaire. For example, the numbers of cows, the average size of the farm, the surface developed in grasslands, in maize or other crops dedicated to the dairy farm. And a second thing is that the nitrogen and phosphorus balances are calculated on the dairy area and not on all the farm. It's very important. So in the tool, you will find for the resource efficiency part different cells in green, and these cells need to be completed. So we will see each step of this tool, and we will focus on all the input and outputs and all the data needed to achieve the nitrogen and phosphorus balance. So the first point is dedicated to the mineral and organic fertilizers. We need to know the quantity of nitrogen and phosphorus used as mineral fertilizer on the dairy area in the period. So you will find the mineral fertilizer used on the dairy area in kilogram of nitrogen total, the same for the phosphorus. You have the organic fertilization. It's the same kind of information. We need to know the quantity of nitrogen and phosphorus purchased or import and used on the dairy area. It's not the nitrogen and phosphorus produced on the farm. It's clearly the nitrogen and phosphorus purchased or imported and used on the dairy area. And at the third point is the organic export. If on the dairy farm a part of the manure is exported to another part of the farm or to another farm, you have to fill in the cell the information of the quantity of nitrogen total of organic manure exported and phosphorus. For each information, I give you some example taking from an experimental farm from France, and you have, for example, here for the mineral fertilizer, the nitrogen used on the dairy farm, the total amount of nitrogen used, and phosphorus, and a little part of exportation of manure. The next point is about the forage purchased or imported on the dairy farm. You have here a list of plant products of forage already given in the tool. The information required is the quantity of each forage bought on the dairy system in total fresh matter. 5 types of forage are proposed with their characteristic, so you can find the dry matter content, the nitrogen content, and the phosphorus content of each forage. But it's possible to adapt them in the context of each farm if analyses are available. In the Dairyman project, for example, we just use this information, but of course, if you have a specific value on your farm, it's possible to adapt the information to your context. And if on your farm other type of forage are purchased, you can precise it in the green cells from the line till the line 20. So some example from the experimental farm. You can find here, for example, the quantity of maize silage purchased, 172 tons of fresh matter. You have also, we need to know the forage sold or exported from the dairy part. You find the same list of forage with the same information concerning the dry matter content, the N content, and phosphorus content. And the information required is the quantity of each forage sold in total fresh matters in tons. For example, there was no export in my example. I spoke about the stock variation. We only consider in the tool the stock variation of forage. So we need to know the final stock of each forage on each farm, and you find exactly the same information than for the inputs and outputs of forage, with the same possibility to change their characteristic. So here some example: the final stock of grass silage, the final stock of maize silage, the final stock of hay, of straw, of alfalfa, and if you have other forage on your farm, you can complete it in the last line. Finally, we have the stock variation, and the stock variation is the difference in the amount of elements present on the farm before and after the period considered. So to estimate the initial stock of each forage, we need to know the percentage of increase or decrease observed at the end of the period. So if the final stock is higher than the initial stock, it's an increase, and if the final stock is lower than the initial, it's a decrease. We decided to approach the stock variation with this technique because we considered that it will be very difficult to have the real stock at the beginning of the period. So it's a more simple possibility to assess the stock variation. So in my example, you have Here the an increase of each forage on the farm, on the experimental farm, because we were in a very good year with a lot of rain, with a lot of water, and with a lot of forage production. Another part of the input of the farm is about the concentrates, and we need to complete the table proposed. It concerns the quantity of concentrates who are purchased or imported and consumed in the year by the dairy herds, cows and heifers, and it's given in tons. The characteristics are given but could be changed, and if a type of concentrate used on the farm is not available in the list, you can complete it at the end of the list. So you can find several type of concentrates. The typical concentrate feed for cow with 18% of protein till 40% of protein, the cold feed, the fodder beet, wheat, maize grain, and so on. You can find the soybean with 44% of protein. You can find soybean maintained, the sunflower cake, and other things. So it's not in dry matter, but in total on the farm. So some example from the experimental farm. We use 86 ton of concentrates with 40% of protein, 40 ton of wheat, 3.5 ton of urea, and some milk powder for the calves. And at least the last input of the farm is about the symbiotic fixation. So we take account of the symbiotic fixation on the tool, but we know that it's difficult to estimate or to assess the average part of the percentage of the part of legumes in the mixed grasslands, with ryegrass and white clover, for example. So we propose 4 solutions, for possibilities to determine the percentage of legumes in these mixed grasslands. If you have very few legumes, almost non-existent in the grasslands, you can consider that you have 10% of legumes as white clover. If ryegrass largely dominates legumes, you can consider that you have 20% of legumes as white clover. And if you have the same covering of the 2 species, you can consider that you have 40% of legumes as white clover. And if legumes dominates ryegrass, you have 60% of legumes as white clover. So you have only 4 possibilities to answer to this point. If it's not white clover but another legumes, we consider the legumes as a white clover. It's more simple. You can find also surface of pure legume. So you have to answer in the second green cell the surface of pure legume in hectare, and on the third cell the surface of mixed grasslands, ryegrass plus legume in hectare. And at least we need to know the average yields of grasslands and pure legumes areas. So you have to give the total the ton of dry matter, the production of each grasslands, pure legumes or mixed grasslands, in ton of dry matter. It's the average yield on the farm. So For the example, in the experimental farm of Derval, you have 20%, in average 20% of legumes in grasslands. The surface of mixed grasslands is about 65 hectare, and the average yield is 5.5 ton of dry matter. So it's all the information. There's not a lot, but it's always a lot of data to be collected. But you have here now stop or finish the collection of the data for the resource efficiency part, and you can find the results. Different results concerning this efficiency approach. So you can find in the results the in the same sheet at the end of the sheet in the questionnaire. So you can find the name of the farm, the region, the year, the start year of the data collection, the dairy agricultural area, the milk produced in total in kilogram, and the milk sold to processing, sold directly or consumed in other enterprises and privately. You have the milk produced in total, corrected, energy corrected, the kilogram of concentrates per co per year, the gram, the quantity of concentrates per kilogram of milk corrected, and the quantity of homegrown concentrates used on the farm, considering the total concentrates consumed by the dairy cows. So it's one of the indicator who you can find at the end of the tool. You also have a lot of information considering the balance, the mineral balance at at the whole farm level and at the area level. So you can find each input on the farm, animals, the same inputs I have described before. So you find for each input, for each output, and for the stock variation, the quantity of nitrogen and phosphorus corresponding. You have this information for the whole farm in kilogram per year and reported to the dairy area. And at least you have the final indicator considering the balance expressed in kilogram per hectare in per ton of milk, and the nitrogen efficiency. For example, here you have a mineral balance of 82 kilograms per hectare on the dairy farm, and this balance expressed in a ton of milk is about 10.6 kilogram, and the nitrogen efficiency is about 36%. That is to say that 36% of the nitrogen imported in the farm is transformed in milk product and forage product and in outputs on the farm. But you can find all this information in the second sheet in the tool, where you have all the information. You have a graph presenting the nitrogen balance for the dairy systems. So you have on the left side the input. All the information are expressed in kilogram per hectare. So in the inputs, you have a color code where you can find the animals bought on the farm, the mineral fertilizer, the organic fertilizer, the plant products, the feed concentrates, and biological fixation. And for each input, you have the average, the quantity of nitrogen imported or purchased. And you on the right side of the graph, you have the same information for the different outputs. So organic fertilizer, plant products, animals, and milk. You find also on this sheet the number of cows, the dairy area, the milk product per cow per year, and the milk product per dairy area. And finally, you have the nitrogen balance, the nitrogen efficiency, the phosphorus balance, and the phosphorus efficiency. And some information, some indicators about the feed efficiency, the milk product in total, in corrected milk, the kilogram of concentrates per cow per year, and the same information than before, but you have also all this information in the same sheet with directly printable for the farmers and for you. At least all this information are present in a practical guide who was written by myself and Jauke, and you will find all this information to help you to answer and to collect the information. Thank you, and I'm okay to answer to your questions, and I hope that my English was not too bad.
Okay, thank you, Sylvain. Is there any questions to the presentation? Please fill in the chat. Behind is typing. But you should all feel free to ask questions.
Yeah. Okay,
And
is there a
Sylvain Hein is there a possibility to fill in different stocks of silage?
I don't really understand understand the question. Um, Oh,
But I think
no. Spring grass or autumn grass. No, we consider if you have I think that I go back to the good the good sheet. For example, here you can if you have two type of grass, you can fill in the last line in other one. For example, spring grass with the dry matter content and its nitrogen content and its phosphorus content, and in other two you can have autumn grass, for example, and all the information for the first stock variation. You can find the other information, so you can, if you want, if you are the information, you can fill in if you want. We proposed a simple view of this mineral balance, but of course we can have specific information if you have the information.
But when we developed the tool, we wanted to be as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So sometimes we are taking some edges, so making it simple, so we just don't have to take
Yeah.
every stock in,
Yeah.
just grass, maize, hay, straw, whatever. But you can put in more, yes.
We had the example in the Dairyman project with a tool who was very important with a lot of information needed to be collected, and I think that I was not present at the beginning of the project, but I think that people needed to, I think, about 1 year to develop and to be agreed with the tool. So here we have worked, I think, very well with Thomas and Jauke, and yes, we and all the team of our work package to have a good tool.
Okay, any other questions? Please feel free to type them in, and we'll do our best to answer them. Hopefully this tool can be spread out quite soon, so we can start collecting the data and get some useful information out of it. We really want to identify farms who is doing well and to see what what makes them good on the efficiency. I just give you a couple of minutes to ask questions. But if there's no questions, we will keep on. But Dan is there. Thank you, Dan. That was probably mostly to you, Sylvain.
Okay.
If there's no further questions, I think we will close the session. We thank you all for participating, and the recording will be available on the EuroDairy website quite soon. Okay, and thank you, Sylvain. I think you did a great job.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone.